Alright, so continuing on, I directly compare this to actually something that happened to me from even before he did that. So for way back when I first lost my office job, okay, if you guys remember, I lost my office job in late 2010. I used to do YouTube as a hobby where I would work a 9-to-5 job, come home, and then every night for like 2-3 hours I would play games, record, and upload those videos to the internet on YouTube. That's when I got my major popularity, was before I ever did this for a job or made a penny doing it, okay? During that era, I lost my job, and I said, oh shit, what am I going to do? I was blindsided by it, and I decided I was going to try to do YouTube as a job, because honestly, I didn't know what else I was going to do. I didn't have anything to fall back on. I didn't really have any other thing that I could do to make money, and I was very nervous that I was going to lose my house. I just bought a condo that summer, so I was going to lose my condo, and I was going to lose all this stuff because I had no income. So I said, what the hell, I'm going to see if I can monetize YouTube and make money. Well, at the time, a big fiasco went down that I won't get into massive detail about because I've already told the story a million times. It's not the story I'm trying to tell right now. But basically, I had to leave YouTube temporarily for a while and try to make money on another site. Okay, I couldn't monetize my gameplay videos on YouTube, and I wanted to see if I could monetize my videos on another website outside of YouTube. And I tried this website called Blip TV. Okay, now keep in mind, at the time, I was trying absolutely everything to see what would work when it came to putting out entertaining videos, because I was trying to do it for a living for the first time. And so I was trying some risque stuff, alright? I really was. I was saying some things that maybe a lot of people would say, damn, you know, Phil really went there, huh, with his commentary or whatever. One of the days that I was on Twitch, I made a joke, and I will, before I even tell you what the joke was, I will tell you up front now that today, in the modern era, 2018, of course, I think this is ridiculous. This is something I would never joke about. I think it was a horrible thing to joke about, okay? And I don't think that it's something that I should have joked about at all. It's not funny, okay? But what I was doing, I was trying to imitate a segment that I had actually recently heard on the Howard Stern show. Now, back then, I used to have Sirius satellite radio in my car, and I used to listen to Howard Stern on the radio, and it just so happened that they were releasing what was called the tapes. It was the archive of all of his, like, classic stuff. And one of the old segments he did on his old radio show was a segment where one of the comedy guys on his show, Fred, would pretend to be a Nazi. And he would talk just like a Nazi, like he had a heavy German accent. And one of the jokes was, he would basically be Guess the Jew. So there'd be like 3 or 4 people sitting in the radio show, okay? And Fred would be pretending to be a Nazi. Now, you wouldn't know that he wasn't a Nazi because they didn't have visual. It was just audio back then. They didn't record the show or nothing. So you didn't understand the joke. But basically, it would be, he would try to say, based off of the name of the person, the facial and or how they physically looked and stuff like that, and based off of their job and stuff like that, he would try to guess who was the Jew, who was the Jewish person of the people in the room, okay? So basically, it was very, very meant to be pushing the envelope, very risque. It's one of the bits that got Howard Stern into trouble, but it's also one of the bits that made Howard Stern famous because he dared to do this kind of risque shit on his show. So at this time, when I was making vids for the first time for Blip TV, and I was trying to do very risque content to see how I could get popular on a new website outside of YouTube, I was doing some crazy shit. And one of the things I did is I literally, I'm not even kidding, pretty much copied the segment from the Howard Stern show. And what I did is I was playing the Dead Space 2 demo, okay? And during the demo, they're not letting me pick this up, it glitched again. Yeah, I'm glitched. During the demo, I was pretending that the main character, Isaac, was a Nazi. And the joke was, he is the last Nazi in the universe. All the Nazis have been exterminated except for him. And basically, it's his job now to go throughout the universe and exterminate all the people who aren't like the white Aryans. So the joke was that all the mutated freaks on the space station were Jews. Or, you know, he was making jokes that they was obviously supposed to be serious, but if he's a Nazi, he'd obviously accuse all the people who were fucked up of being Jewish. So basically, he was accusing all these hideous mutated aliens of being Jews and making Jewish jokes and everything during the course of the gameplay. Again, today, I know that's fucked up and wrong, and that's not funny, and that's something that you should not do in a video. But back then, it was like the Wild West. You could say whatever the fuck you wanted on the internet around 2010, and people thought it was funny. People got the joke. Okay? Now, here you go. So what ended up happening was, after me saying all this incredibly inflammatory stuff towards Jewish people in this series of videos, me playing the demo of Dead Space 2, basically, people loved it, by the way. I'm not going to lie. People got the joke, and it got tons of views, and, I was doing real good on Blip, actually. All of a sudden, about a week after the video had been live, so the video had already been seen by everyone, it was accepted, I got contacted by Blip. They were like, wow, you're doing really good on our website. We'd actually like to have an agent talk to you, one of our private contacts. He'll be your contact on Blip. What we want to do is set up a private meeting with you to talk about your future on Blip, maybe even talk about some exclusive opportunities, because your gameplay videos are doing incredibly good on Blip. In fact, if you actually tracked that, my performance on Blip TV at that time, I was the number 2 guy on the fucking website. The only person who was bigger than me on Blip TV for that month that I was on that website was the Nostalgia Critic. I'm not even kidding, I surpassed Angry Joe. I surpassed every major person who was doing shows on Blip TV all along. I surpassed them in viewership within like 2 weeks. And I was the number 2 guy on the website. So Blip was pretty serious. They're like, damn, this guy's the future of our business. Let's be serious. Let's talk about him, about opportunities and stuff. Well, basically about a week after I had created this video, with this me impersonating the segment on the Howard Stern show and all of that, okay? Guess what happened, ladies and gentlemen? Someone reported me in a big complaint letter to Blip TV and said that they found me incredibly offensive, my content. By the way, this wasn't the first time Phil's done this on YouTube. He's constantly racist, and you have no idea about the person who you're trying to promote and who you're going to get into your business. And basically, this person's a horrible person. He has a history of doing horrible things on YouTube, and you should not allow him into Blip TV, and you should get rid of him. So basically, they read this complaint letter, all right, and then saw the video, and apparently they had a big management meeting of the people higher-ups in the company, and determined that it was that really, honestly, I don't think they had a problem with the video until someone complained. And then when they saw this complaint, they basically said, oh, well, if we're going to have inflammatory issues like this with Phil, we can't have him be a part of the website. And they banned me from Blip. They gave me like 7 days to remove all my video content and basically said, you're gone from Blip because of the kind of content you put out. And I said, now, wait a minute. You were okay with all of my content. Just a couple days ago, you were going to have a private meeting with someone to meet with me and talk about the future. Now, all of a sudden, you do a complete 180. Like, it didn't seem to make sense, right? I think what happened, honestly, is that it was a group of trolls who basically messaged the fuck out of them. Basically, the same people who didn't like me on YouTube. They were jealous of me. They didn't like my success on YouTube. And they didn't want to see me make money doing gameplay videos as a living. So they spammed the fuck out of Blip TV with a bunch of complaints. And by the way, then they admitted it later on my forums. They started posting up on my kingofhate.com forum saying, yeah, it was us, and we did it. And look at the power that we have, that we can fuck with Phil's life whenever we want, that we have the power to do this. And I'm like, so literally there was no legitimate complaint. No one actually was offended. It's just that a bunch of trolls decided to do this to fuck with me. And Blip was so dumb that, they didn't realize this. And thought it was legit, and they banned me from the site, okay? So that being said, alright, grab this, and grab this. Okay. 4 times side. What ended up happening with me was basically I had to leave Blip, go back to YouTube, and that's when I finally got a partnership with Machinima. I started monetizing my gameplay videos on YouTube, and the rest is history. All right, so since then I started making money on YouTube, and since then that's been my job. So it didn't really matter that I got banned from Blip TV, and quite honestly, I mean, it almost is a godsend, because if you guys don't know, Blip TV went out of business. Blip TV tried to compete with YouTube. They couldn't hang. They couldn't get the good advertisers. They couldn't make as much money as people. The people who went to Blip made way less money than those who were on YouTube. And therefore, a lot of people didn't want to go to Blip anymore. And Blip went out of business completely a few years back. So good thing, because if I had stayed with them and that was my horse that I was riding, I might have not have been able to do this for a living anymore, okay? Now, the reason why this is all pertinent to me and the Shane Dawson situation is because it's literally the same situation. No lie, folks. Ever since that time when that happened, ever since I made that joke that obviously was an incorrect thing I shouldn't have joked about, I wholeheartedly admit now today it was a mistake, and I would never make a joke like that ever again, okay? Basically, there's still people to this very day that bring it up and say that I'm an anti-Semite and a racist. And they'll reference that. They'll say, look at this. Here's a clip of Phil. Because, by the way, the clip doesn't exist anymore. But they'll bring it up. They'll find it. Some people have saved it and archived it. And they'll play that clip and say, here's an example of how Phil's a racist, right? Now, I'm not. Everyone who's seen me over the years knows that I'm not a racist. If you've seen the over 50,000 fucking gameplay videos I put out on the internet, you know that every once in a while I will make a joke about race. It's usually a generalized stereotype. I've never made a joke as extreme as that one ever again. I know that it was bad to the point of being way too bad. Okay? And the bottom line is, in this day and age, things have changed. People are a lot more sensitive to that kind of stuff. And I realize that, and I would not make those kind of jokes. But 7 years later, people still bring this shit up. Every once in a while, I see it. Someone uses it as a reason why I'm a bad person and why you shouldn't watch my live stream. I've grown tremendously in the past 7+ years and learned what's fucked up and what you should and shouldn't do and what's considered comedy and what's considered insulting. I get it. Now, listen, I still make mistakes to this day as well. I'm not only human. But I've definitely improved and become a much better person over the past 7+ years that I've been doing this for a living than I was at the beginning. At the beginning, anything went, right? It was like the Wild West of the internet. Say whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't matter if it could insult someone. Just fuck it. Say whatever you want, right? So the reason that I bring this up now is because Shane is basically going through the same thing I am. Here's a time when he was saying something, as a joke, and he realized that it shouldn't have been said, or it shouldn't have been made a joke. He apologized for it publicly over the years. You know what I mean? Like, he said, no, this is wrong, this isn't something that should be treated lightly. He stuck up for people, for kids in that situation who've been abused over the years. Basically, he's done everything to prove the opposite. But now all of a sudden, someone makes a fucking video that goes viral on YouTube referencing something from 5 years ago, claiming like he just, you know what I mean? Like, well, here's evidence. And it's like, what the fuck? People need to realize something, all right? People change. People mature, people grow up, people get better over time, and the internet is not a black and white place. Just because someone said something at one point on the internet does not make it the absolute truth. Years and years ago, I said people who play Minecraft are immature idiots, and I don't understand the gimmick of it. It's a piece of crap game. Then I actually played Minecraft. I was like, holy fuck, I totally understand why people like this game. It actually has appeal. But that's what I mean. People learn and change over time. You can't hold Shane Dawson accountable in 2018 for something he did 5 years ago and already apologized for it and admitted it was publicly wrong. And certainly you can't use that as evidence that he's a pedophile when there's no evidence whatsoever. No one's come forward and complained. There's no concrete evidence. He's never been arrested or caught doing anything nasty like that. So how can you fucking come out and make a video about it saying he's a pedophile, right? It's fucked up. And so I made a tweet basically defending him, saying, listen, as someone who 7 years ago made a really bad joke, apologized for it, and has never lived it down. I still get harassed for it to this day. I completely empathize with Shane. I believe that this is a bullshit situation, and anyone who thinks that he's a pedophile, come forward with evidence immediately and present it, or else shut the fuck up. Because you're just a fucking drama queen moron trying to cause problems for someone and trying to basically, get attention rather than fucking actually having anything to say. So I made this tweet, and like people said in the stream chat, apparently, already the tweet has like almost 500 likes and growing. Like, it's going viral on Twitter because I'm a verified account and people saw this and, let's face it, Shane Dawson has a huge fan base, so people like the fact that basically I'm speaking reason here. And by the way, I'm going to say this, and by no means am I protecting or defending what he said. What he said was wrong. No, you should not make jokes about, kids are sexy and shit like that. I'm going to have, making love to children or whatever he said. I don't even know what the fuck he said. I don't even know. If he said anything like that, that's fucked up, and it's not defensible. But apparently the guy realized it was wrong. In the very same show where he made those jokes, he apologized and said it was wrong. And that was 5 fucking years ago. He never did it again. So why would you actually bring that up like something pertinent now? You have to be a fucking lame-brained idiot. A mouth-drooling moron. So there you go. There's the situation. Okay, I explained it. That was a big, thorough explanation. Hopefully that was good enough. And now you all know what's going on in that situation. I think the vertical's better than the angled, if I remember correctly. Okay.